control. Say that everything that was taught, God will help us to make maximum use of it. And at the end of the meeting, we have every reason to glorify His name. In Jesus' name, I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Ms. Dorcas. Thank you for that short prayer. Mr. Wasiu, are you where you can talk so that you can take over the anchor? Okay.
No, where I am is still noisy.
Hello.
Hello, where I am is still a bit noisy.
I can't hear you.
I'm still in a bit noisy place.
Okay. We just left program together. Probably I will go ahead to
Yes?
continue back. So, the next thing on our program here is the welcome address by the state chair. So the state chair too is presently unavailable to join us. It might join us before we end the webinar. So on behalf of the state chair surveyor, Adegoke Samson, I welcome us all, prospective surveyors and all our speakers for today. I want to say a very big thank you to everyone that has contributed to YSN in one way or the other in the past and still doing so. We are really grateful. Thank you so much. We hope that this webinar will be an eye-opener and it will motivate those of us that are writing the exam this year. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you. So not taking much of our time, we'll go straight to the webinar. And we'll be having our first section and I'll be introducing our speakers. So for our first section, we'll be having Sofia Oloko Pikils and Sofia Bodri. So I will be going with Sofia while I read a little bio about her. So Sofia Oloko Pikils is a surveyor with almost a decade experience spanning both public and private sector in Nigeria. So she just got inducted this year. She was part of those people that got inducted this year. So I think she's a good fit to share her recent experience in registering as a surveyor of the Nigeria of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So not taking much of our time, I will give the floor to Surveyor Bilkis Oloko to start. Thank you. Surveyor Bilkis, are you on this call? Sorry, can we all hear me?
Very well.
Okay, she's on the call, but
We can hear you.
okay, thank you. She's on the call, but I'm not sure she's here with us. Okay, I will go with Surveyor Abodrin then, if she's not ready yet. So, Surveyor Abodrin, I'll be reading a short bio of Surveyor Abodrin. So, Surveyor Abodrin Oluniyi Abiola studied surveying and informatics at ND 2008, distinction and best graduating student, and HND 2011, best graduating student at the Federal School of Surveying, Oyo. Studied geoinformatics and surveying at the University of Nigeria, campus. Postgraduate diploma, 2014, distinction. SURCON candidate, best professional essay and best overall 2019 induction. married to one wife, practice surveying and lives as a missionary. We can see that surveyor bordering is a very big catch for us. So I want us to learn from his wealth of knowledge as I welcome Surveyor Aboduri. Thank you. You can have it for sir.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for having me. I hope I'm audible enough.
Yes,
Can you
sir.
hear me, please? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So good
We can
evening,
hear you.
everyone. Thanks for having me. Well, I thought to share a bit of my experience writing the SURCON exam. I would say that I didn't see it as too big a mountain to climb. I know that many people have been scared out of writing SURCON. I've been told that it's not easy, and the likelihood of failure has been smeared in our face more than the likelihood of success. But what I would like to tell everyone that is on this queue this evening is that actually, if you have gone through school at either HND or BSc or BTech level, you have all it takes. If you have actually gone through school and school has gone through you, you have all it takes to pass SURCON, because SURCON will not test you beyond that. So knowing that, well, my journey started from the choice of my project. I think that's where a lot of people get it messy. While you are compiling your synopsis, some people do that in so much a hurry. And when it's time to settle down with those projects, they start having problems. So I would say that it's better to make selections of projects that you have done or very, very familiar with, you have been involved. Carefully select. Don't impress. Don't pick a project that you do not know. So I had, of course, I was underprivileged at that time, and there were quite a number of projects I could select from. So I made my choice. For some of them, I didn't pick the really, really big projects. I remember that we mapped a facility, an NNPC facility, very big. And my boss wanted me to pick it as my main discourse. I felt that that was going to be not too big, but it was going to attract a lot of questions. And I just wanted to be basic. I wanted to be simple. The first thing for me was that I didn't want to impress. I wanted to do something that I could play around with. I could clearly explain myself. So I just made my choice, made just picked here and there, and I felt like picking projects that I'm really, really sound at. So I feel that if you do that, you will have saved yourself from some pitfalls. But I remember the same year I wrote, there was a candidate that did an hydro project, not bathymetry. It was a core hydro project. And of course, I think he was really, really good at it. But when he got to the Viva, that's the oral interview, the interview, some of the examiners were not too familiar with what he did. And sometimes when you are in such a situation and you are trying to explain yourself, you look like you know more than your teacher. And if you get your panelist or your examiner intimidated, you might pay for it. Thank God that he was allowed to explain himself. As a matter of fact, they rescheduled him till the next day, and they brought an expert on that field. So I would say that choose very simple projects that you can explain. You can explain any and every part of it, something that you are familiar with the location and all that you have. So I feel making the right choice with your synopsis is the first step. Then I'll say that one of the things that also helped me was that I made friends with people that wrote SURCON 2 years, 3 years before me. They could guide me. They don't need to be the best overall, but I know that this person wrote and he was successful, or this person wrote and it was not successful, because there's something to learn from the person who is not successful too. If he or she was careful enough to note his mistakes and putting all those together, I had sample projects I perused, I looked at what is actually needed. What does SURCON need? I was familiar with there's, of course, you have, I've forgotten the name they call this handbook that is like your scheme of work or something like that. There is a boundary that has been created for you within which you can select what you want to do. And out of all those, I don't think that if you have gone through school, anything will be difficult for you. So I don't know if there is something more you would like me to say, but so that I give room for other panelists, I think I should stop now. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes,
can,
Hello?
but
a bit
voice
faint.
is a bit low.
Can you hear me?
It's better now.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much of your Abodunrin Oluni for that simple talk. And I think our people would have catch one or two things there. One of the key things I picked from what he said is that pick simple projects that you can defend very well. Don't go there with the mindset of becoming the next of your. It's good to aim high, to become of your Abodunrin. He was the best overall SURCON candidate then and the best in SA2. So he said he made emphasis on picking projects that are very simple. That's part of the thing that helped him, that he will be able to defend adequately well. So I don't know if we have any questions for him. Any questions for him? I would like us to pen down our questions. So after the second speaker for this first session has set our own side of the talk now, say our own side of the talk, I mean. So we'll take questions for the two of them at the same time. So please, if you have questions, you can type them in the chat box so that they can see them before before some of your BQs. I think she has messaged me now that she is online. We conclude our own session so that we can tackle the questions together. I will encourage us to be free to ask even the most stupid question you are thinking in your head, like what is the color for boundary, so that these people can put us. They might have experience in this regard. Don't think that any question is too stupid to ask. They are our colleagues. That's why we look for people that we can still relate with adequately. So I will encourage us to put our questions down in the chat box, so it will be then addressed after some of your big keys have taken our session. So some of your big keys, you have the floor, man. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Please, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right. It's a pleasure to be here today. In preparing for SURCON exam, my key advice to everyone is to make sure that all of the projects that they select for their folio, the 5 projects, should not only be the ones that they participated in, but also it should also meet the specification in the SURCON examination guidelines. Everything regarding area, the size, the type of projects, the groupings, everything is in your examination guidelines. So make sure you study it perfectly and then make sure you're choosing projects that meet all of those specifications. The second thing is also to make sure that each individual project are done according to the specification guiding it. The engineering work should go according to the specification guiding engineering work. Your cadastral work should go according to the specifications guiding cadastral work. Your mapping project should go according to such specification, and so on and so forth for the other groupings. Then also, I think by this time, you should be certain about the projects you want to carry out, because submission of synopsis is in July. It's barely a month. When your preparing your synopsis, make sure like your project is, if not completed, let it be almost completed. Because once you submit your synopsis, you might find it difficult to change anything there. The only thing you probably have luxury of changing is probably the linear accuracy of your work and all that. You can leave that one black in your synopsis. But it's expected that when you're submitting your synopsis, all of the projects are either completed or about to be completed. Then when you've compiled your project, make sure at least you have at least 3 people aside from your supervisor go through your project. Let them go through your reports, let them go through your plans, your computation sheets, and all of that, so that at least you have minimal errors and then you're able to present what's expected of you. And also, second project anyway, it was really very stressful for me. If you're somebody who is probably not fully in the industry right now, and you're going to be writing an exam this year, I would advise that you try as much as possible to have people around you who are practicing very well. At least maybe 3 of your colleagues, but also not only people who are writing exams this year, but other people who are not writing exams this year, so that at least when there are times when you need somebody to check your work, it's easier for you. And also when you're preparing to write the written exams, hey, you need to read, especially if you've left academics for a long time and you're just coming back. So you need to read all of the recommended texts and at least be able to grab contemporary issues on professional stuff, things that are going on. There's usually a group created for examination. I'm sure most of you would have joined now. That's one of the best platforms for you to keep on engaging till exam period. I think that's all I have to say for now. If you have any questions, you can ask.
Oh, thank you so much of your big piece of work. Really appreciate that short talk. So we are going to, I think one of the key things she encourages that you should be very careful before you submit your synopsis. You know, our first speaker too made emphasis on that we should be very careful and choose topics and that we can defend very well. And she also emphasized on the fact that we need to have people around us. Nobody knows it all. You know, don't believe that you can handle everything on your own. I've seen people write projects over the years, and I know how pressurable it can be. You know, the pressure is always much, so you can reduce that pressure if you have people around you that you can lean on, that you can always ask questions from. So we'll be giving room for question now. If we have any question, you can kindly raise your hand. Then you will be called to ask our first two speakers any question whatsoever. They have we have one that has a recent experience and one from 2019. So I know they'll be able to tackle our questions. Our questions is just based on our preparation and all that. Anything that we are looking that we are looking at that we need answers to. So if we have any question right now from those of us writing exam this year, I would like us to raise our hand now and I'll call on us. So any of us? So I think there is a question on the chat box. Can project be outside the state of registration? For example, get jobs after your state that you want to include in your major or minor projects. So I don't know if surveyability is also your.
Yes, you can have projects outside of your state of registration. As far as it's a project by your supervisor, you can.
Okay, thank you for that short answer. So do we
Please,
have
can
anybody here?
Can I lend my voice on that? Can I lend my
Yes,
voice on that?
yes,
Okay.
yes, yes, sir.
I wanted to say that if you are doing, like she correctly answered, that's just correct. But if you are engaging any project that is outside your state, be confident about it, because that happened to me. I had I think maybe two surveyor generals as panelists. So I did a project in Calabar, Cross River State. And coming from Lagos, Calabar, Cross River and Lagos is quite a distance. So he asked me, did you truly do this project? I said, yes. So he asked me, on what basis? I said, a surveyor can practice in any part of Nigeria, as stated in the Constitution. So he said, that's okay. So you must have a basis, because you could be asked a random question. The panelist wants to know if you are just faking it or you are actually at the site. So be confident about it.
Appreciate that. So I think that question has been answered now. So someone is asking on the chat box that can I use a project that wasn't directly supervised by my supervisor? Is it allowed?
Is Surveyor Balekis, do you want to answer that? Go ahead.
No.
I think Surveyor Abadun want to take that first.
Yeah, I was going to say that it's neither black or white. It's a gray spot. If I were you, I will, because let me bring this in that panelists vary in their opinions. You may be in a group where your panelist does not see anything wrong in that, in as much as you have a letter of authority from your boss seconding you to carry out that project for the person whose signature is on it. You understand what I'm saying? But there are some other panelists that will not understand with you. So to stay within the boundary of peace or within the boundary of safety, I would say that as much as possible, since you have not submitted your synopsis, do a project that only your supervisor endorses, so that you are within the boundary of safety. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that.
Also, can I add something, please?
Yes, you can.
The person might be in a situation whereby they've exhausted the amount of projects within the 4 sectors we're asked to select from. And maybe the last one, they can't find any projects within in their own company that it's under that grouping. You can decide to do a project your own self, generated by your own self, that your supervisor would sign. You understand? So there's no client for the project. For instance, now you can do a mapping project, a street guide, for instance, and there's no client for it. It's just your own personal project. You did it yourself, your supervisor supervised it. You can do that.
Okay, thank you so much for that answer. So I think the question has been answered. Do we have any other question for them before we move to the second section of our other two speakers are ready for us? So I don't know, do we have any other questions for them? Or along the line, they are still on this call, so if we have any other question, they can still attend to them even after we have completed the second session when other speakers have joined. So I will introduce the other two speakers to us now. We have Sobio Adewale Abolaji on the call, and we have Sobio Rachel Oriyomitu on the call. They are recently inducted Sobio too. So we are going to be taking Sobio Adewale first, and I'm going to be reading his short bio. Sobio Adewale Olusegun Abolaji is a versatile Sobio with core interest in unmanned area system, UAS. Graduated top of his class from the Department of Surveying and Geoinformatics, the Polytechnic Ibadan, 2008-2009 session. He further studied at the prestigious Federal School of Surveying, or popularly known as FSS, for his HND and PD. He also bagged a postgraduate diploma from Federal University of Technology, Akure. Adewale has published a paper on academia in 2017 titled The Environmental Impact of Incessant Buildings of Gas Stations in Nigeria, which has garnered readers across the globe. He is the chairman of YSL Lagos Training Academy. Adewale is one of the newly qualified Surveyors inducted by Surveyors Council of Nigeria. He is happily married. So I hereby present you all as Surveyor Adewale Olusegun Abolaji. Thank you, sir. You have it, sir.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I believe you can all hear me. Can you all hear me, please?
Please let us react if we hear you.
Okay. I believe you can all hear me, actually. First off, I'm so happy to be here, and I'm actually happier because somebody like Aboduri is here. You see, is one of those people that I look, or anytime I remember that he has been our bone, and I bless God for his life. I really have a lot to say about him, and of a truth, him opening this floor is a lot, because you will notice that he doesn't know how to talk much. There's a lot to say, and there's a lot he has done, but then he's not someone that talks a lot. Now, as regard SURCON, and I also must appreciate Surveyor Bilikis Oloko also. We are both inducted together. Very wonderful fellow. As regards SURCON, you see, both of them that spoke earlier, you will realize that they didn't really say much. It is because there is actually a lot to say, for real, but you can't say everything. You can't say everything. It's a lot, starting from pupillage. Is it pupillage? Yeah, starting from pupillage to choosing of projects, your project topics, and writing the exam itself. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Okay, all right. Thank you. That's Surveyor Oloko. I know her voice very well. Okay. So, I was trying to say that there's actually a lot to talk about for real. We can be here from now till tomorrow. We'll be speaking about SURCON. But it's a situation whereby you have a lot to say, but yet you can't say everything. And for those of us, for the people that want to write the exam now, you're actually entering it. And I won't hide anything from you. It's work. It's a real work. It's a real work. Somebody like Surveyor Aboduri, yes, he finished top of his class, ND, HND, PGD, everything. It's work. So as we are entering into it, I really need to prepare us that what we are entering into is not child's play, for real. And like what one of my guys would say, that it is something that you will earn till you die. Like it's a title that you will carry forever till you leave this earth. So it is a lot. It will test your everything, your resilience, your tenacity, your patience, who is that wonderful child? Your patience, everything. It will test everything, finances, spiritually. I mean, and I believe that we by now, anybody at this point in their lives knows that putting God first in everything you do is non-negotiable. Putting God first in everything you do is non-negotiable because a lot of things. I mean, someone that we wrote the exam together that actually failed, this person still chatted me up 2 weeks ago. He said he can't still believe it that he failed SURCON. That he and this is someone I mean, this is not an average student. He said he can't still believe that he failed SURCON, and it has happened already. So that is to tell you that it is a lot, but I pray that none of us here will fail. None of us will fail. And but then it's a lot of preparation. I would not lie to you. If somebody like Sylvia Boduri is telling you that they've told us that it's not a lot, but see, he's talking from a place of preparation. Is my bone. He's talking from a place of preparation, actually. Yeah, I mean, he's born prepared. So please, as we are approaching this exam, both is the whole thing is starting from, I mean, this thing is starting from school actually, because the way you are in school is what will follow you to this point. If you are the type that you don't participate in practicals in school, you are going to feel it at this point actually. You're going to feel it at this point actually. Please, few seconds. You're going to feel it at this point actually, but then there is still time. You understand? One, the projects we are going to, I believe by now we all have our projects. Please, for God's sake, the projects we are going to select, let those projects be projects that you are so sure of. One, don't try to impress. I mean, so Abadori has said it earlier. I'm going to be referencing a lot of things I said because, I mean, it's someone that I know very well. I mean, you don't try to impress anybody. Don't try to improve because you might in your I mean in you trying to impress, you might get pressed and it will not be funny. It will not be funny. It will not be funny at all. I mean, I was privileged to this information. Someone was trying to defend his project. This my same set, and at the point he couldn't say anything anymore. He couldn't say anything anymore. They had to tell him to go to the toilet and wipe his face. Then he came back. That's when he was able to compose himself. I was in I defended in room. I've forgotten now. But the room opposite my own room where we defended, that hotel in Abuja. I mean, they were talking to the guy that he should sit down. The guy said he cannot sit down. The guy said he couldn't. I mean, he already removed his jacket. He was sweating. He said he couldn't sit down. So I cannot sit down. He was actually under fire. I'm telling us all this so that we will give in all our best. I'm not trying to scare anyone. I mean, at this point, we are all graduates. I mean, nobody should scare anybody. Nobody should scare anybody. But then we should prepare and be ready to give our best shots. You are going to get tested on what you have written. So in the course of you writing the project, please give it your very best. My what's it called? My main discourse was a project that I started from the beginning to the end. So there is nothing anybody wants to say on that project. It's actually layout that I cannot talk about. That is one. Two, and then like what of your Oloko Bilkis said, another thing she said was that like I said, I'll be referencing what you told them I've said because they've said it all in a way technically. please have people around you. You need help. Don't try to don't think that you can do it alone. Don't like a slogan in my church, don't do life alone. You understand? Don't think you can do it alone. And what that means is that like my own project now, I in my office, in the office, I mean also my supervisor's office, there were people like 3 to 4 that we were doing everything together. You understand? We were doing everything together. At the point, one had to come to my house to help me. Do you understand? You need as much help as you can get, but then make sure you are the center of the whole thing because you are the one that will defend. You are going there to defend it. Okay, then 3, make sure that your minor, you work very well on your minor. Because from my own personal experience, when I was defending, in total, because I pressed my wristwatch when I was entering. I used 18 minutes altogether for my defense. Some people used more than 1 hour. Then another thing I noticed was that they dwelt much on main discourse. They dwelt more on most of the questions were coming from main discourse. They asked me to summarize my main discourse and they will pause me and ask me questions. Pause me and ask me questions. So, and what that tells me is that, what I garnered from that is that if your main discourse is faulty, that is where they will hook you. You understand? Your main discourse, give it your very best, everything that you can. Then make sure it's a project that you know very well. And like Sovia Oloko also said that you can self-generate projects. Yes, it is allowed in SURCON. If you, maybe the project that you have are not enough, projects like Street Guide, they can be self-generated. You understand? I did Street Guide too. It was self-generated. I used a Yanoba as my area, as location rather. So I mapped the whole place. Even though we didn't go to sites, we did everything on laptop. You see, all these things, they are very, very important. And the reason why I said so is that Yanoba is my area. I know everywhere. I know the whole of Yanoba. I stayed in that house for 2 years. So I know everything about that. So that is that. Then okay, I did hydro also. As regard my hydro, one thing I learned, one thing that the person that helped me on my hydro told me was that whatsoever I am doing on that hydro, anything that what did he say? Okay, that we're having issues with our control. So the control that we used was no more on ground. You understand? So I had to go on ground to verify that. So when we realized that that control was not really on ground, we had to use another control, but not a popular control. And the reason why we went through, I intentionally went through that route was that they told me that they had someone used a control around Unilag some years back, and the person that was at the panel was actually staying in that area. Meanwhile, the person that wrote the project was not staying in Unilag area. Do you know the question they asked him? They said, if you want to get to this control, how will you get there? That was what destabilized the person. Do you understand? So, I mean, you are talking about a control that you don't know. Meanwhile, the person on the panel stays in that area. And the person was trying to tell you that if you want to get to this control, okay, there are some shops in front of this control. Can you confirm that? He couldn't say anything. I mean, that was the beginning of problem. That was the beginning of problem for that person. So please, anything we are going to be doing, make sure that I remember my main discourse also. The controls I used when I got the control from Lagos control stuff. So when I got it on ground, 2 are not on ground, 1 was on ground, but I still located them. You understand? Before I located them, I put them on Google. There's a way the road will be and the control will be. I remember Savio Solisi because it was the one that when YSN organized my this kind of thing, it was one that checked my project. He said something, he said, Abolaji, I could never forget that statement. He said, let me play the devil's advocate. And he asked me some very tough questions. You understand? So in playing that devil's advocate, and that's one reason why you must expose your project to people. Don't say you want to hide the project. Nobody will steal your project. You understand? Expose it to people. People will, things that your supervisor could not see, those people will see it. Those people will see it. And I mean, let me leave the rest to Rachel to continue. Then you can ask a question. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, of your apology. That was a wonderful session. And he has really emphasized on the fact that don't take this SURCON project with levity. Don't joke with it. You have to prepare adequately so that you can talk boldly like they are talking now. So I'm encouraging us all to please adhere to all these motivations, all these advice, and learn from their experience. They have been talking to us based on their first-hand experience, and I think it's the right motivation we need presently. So let us gather all our questions. All our four speakers will be available to attend to them after we conclude the session with Sylvia Oriyomi Rachel. I know she has a lot to tell us too. And we'll be reading a short bio now while we have her. So Sylvia.
Please, I can't hear you. Is it my network?
Yeah, sorry.
Much.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, so Sylvia Oriyomi
Yes.
Adeyemi is a geospatial consultant at First Line Geospatial Survey, a fast-rising survey firm in Nigeria. She was recently inducted as the Registered Surveyor of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. She holds a BTech from Bells University of Technology, Ota, and HND from Yaba College of Technology, Yaba, Lagos. Sylvia Oriyomi Rachel is a former General Secretary of the Young Surveyors Network, Lagos State Branch, 2019 to 2021. The team that laid the foundation that the subsequent executive are now building on. She is happily married with 2 lovely kids. So I hereby present to you Sylvia Oriyomi Rachel. You can have the floor, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone. I'm pleased to be here today. I'm really sorry for the time I've been trying to join since 4 p.m. In fact, it was when I put pressed the link that my app was now saying update, and I was having issues. I tried joining with my laptop. I couldn't hear anything, but thank God I finally made it. I jot down some points that I would like to share with you. It pained me that I couldn't hear what my previous colleagues have shared, so I won't have to repeat some of their thoughts, but just bear with me. So okay. In fact, I even made a slide, I made a PowerPoint slide. Okay, so I said random thoughts on SURCON examination preparation. Random thought. Before I put up, say my random thoughts, let me just share my experience with you briefly. For this SURCON, I happened to write my SURCON twice. Can you all hear me? Don't know. Please let me know if you can hear me. Yes. Okay. All right.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I happened to write my SURCON exam twice because I didn't pass law. So I believe my colleagues must have spoken extensively on the folio and most of other things. So let me just take it from there. So for those who wrote examination and passed once, I congratulate you. It's actually a big deal. It's a big deal to write and pass once. And you should appreciate yourself for that and also appreciate God. But if by any chance you wrote your exam, okay, I'm talking to people who are going to be writing exams, so let me not be negative. Okay, so I believe by God's grace, you are going to write and pass all your exams with flying colors. But SURCON examination is nothing like your school exams. So do not, so I will advise that you read thoroughly to avoid every avoidables. It's also not like your school examinations, and that explains why most of the people that come out like best in folio, best in this, best in that, they are not usually the efficos that we know personally. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. And that is without prejudice to those people that got their awards, please. So I put down preparation for examination. I said, read, study everything studyable on law. Do not leave any page unturned. I also recommend group discussion. That is after you must have studied well. Group discussion helped me the second time. The first time I wrote my law, I didn't have the chance for group discussion because I wasn't staying in the same vicinity with my colleagues. So I studied alone, and I'm considering maybe that was one of the reasons why I didn't pass it at once. You know, when something like that happens, you have to you have to do everything necessary to ensure that you do not repeat the same mistakes. So group discussion is also good after you must have studied, because when you have group discussions, some of the things that you didn't remember to read, your colleagues will mention it, and like that. Also, the ones you have read and maybe might be forgetting, you'll be able to remember them. So I also said for essay, read previous essays to know how to gather and coordinate your thoughts. And also for essay, it's also good to engage in group discussions, because during my own time, we engaged in group discussions for the essay. We were able to gather points together. And I think it's faster when you gather points with your colleagues than when you are all by yourself. And it's faster, because while you are still thinking of something, somebody will say, if it is for you're writing about GIS, this, that. So you can easily gather points. That's then what else? Okay, and I said, make sure you pray, because prayer is very important in everything that we are doing. So pray. Then on folio, I note down some things. I said, start your projects in time to avoid rushing it at the dying minutes. I'm sorry if I'm repeating what my colleagues have said earlier. So start your projects in time to avoid rushing it at the dying minutes. Even if you wish to do all 5 projects by yourself, you should still seek assistance where necessary. This is very important. Nobody is an island. So try to delegate duties, especially if you have friends that are good, or junior colleagues that can be of assistance. While they are helping you, they are also learning. So I did that during my project, although I made up my mind that I was going to do my project, the 5 projects. I wanted to partake in each and every one. I didn't want to just pick up a random project and then do and start, learning for defense. So it's good to delegate your project, ask people for help. In fact, I had helpers, especially when it was during submission time. The people that helped me with table of contents, many assistants like that, including for my drawings too. You cannot do everything all by yourself. Then if there's any chance that you can submit 2 months before exam, please do so by all means, to avoid the fireman approach that we always do. If you can, I know that from now to October is not too far. So whatever you have done, try to, speed it up even more. Try to put all your efforts to make sure that you submit. You give yourself enough time to study, because The truth is, like I said, SURCON exam is not like our school exams. You cannot even imagine what the marking scheme is like. It's law, and law marking is, I'm sure, is very, very strict. School exam, they might actually be, tampering, messy with just biology. So you have to read every law, in fact, everything, to ensure that you, at least, even if you do not remember it word for word, you have an idea. When you see the questions, you will not be blank on, if you see maybe number one, I know number one, but that number two, you will have idea of each and every. That was what I did when I went for the second time. In fact, when I saw the question, I had to now start asking myself, which one do you know best? Because I could actually answer the whole, I think there were 7 questions. I could actually attempt the 7 questions, but with the way, once bitten, twice shy. So I studied to the best of my ability, and it was only one, so I had enough time to study for it. So you will have idea. You will have to choose the best, the ones you can answer best. That's why you need enough time to read, to study. Then, if you happen to use project that you do not specialize in, it's not all aspect of surveying that some of us specialize in. So if you happen to use any of such projects, ensure that you study it and master every aspect of the project. For instance, during my own time, I'm not I'm not really into hydrographic survey like that, but I had interest in it, and I really wanted to do it. In fact, even when I told my supervisor that I'll be adding hydrographic survey to my project, he was like, are you sure? I said, yes, sir. He didn't want to discourage me directly, but he was doubting my capability because he thought that this is not something you do regularly. So are you sure? But I went for it. I contacted one of my friends who is into hydro. In fact, he was the one that assisted me. I did everything. He put me through, but I made sure that I understood what we were doing so that I'll be able to defend. So that's why I said, if there's any chance that you submit projects or that you use project that you do not, make sure you just master it. That's very important. Also, ensure that your supervisor, okay, that's by the time you have, you are ready to print, sign, all those things. Ensure that your supervisor signs all your data page in your project, as well as all the places that his name appears. Then stamp and seal every page that is signed by your supervisor. Very, very important though. Some people's supervisors signed and they forgot to, or they miss some pages. It's actually a lot. It's a lot of work. So it's possible to miss some pages. But that's one of the reasons why you should try to avoid that rushing, so that you can make sure you get it right. Because it's not everybody's supervisor that will be in Abuja that or how to be sending projects here and there. And also, if you notice any error in your submission, by the time you submit and you now notice that this page or something is wrong with it, or this, that, or maybe one of your drawing, there's something that you should have corrected and you missed, don't panic. Just make sure that you print it, and when you are going for the defense, make sure you take it along. That way, if the examiners throw, question at you that, why is this one like this? You've made a mistake, you just present it to them. That way they will understand that, okay, he knows what he's doing. This is just a mistake. And like my mentor told me, he said they are also human beings, and they are not looking for perfection. They just want to know that you know what you are doing. You are the one that did the project. So that is very important. And try to maintain your composure. Try to maintain your composure. Try to just compose yourself. Don't allow tension or pressure or whatever to now affect you. You that on a normal day, you can talk very well freely, and then you now get to front of examiners and be jittery, not be able to express yourself. So avoid that. Avoid it. Just stay calm, composed. It's not everybody that we have that will spend long time with the examiner. Some people, they go there and come out in 20 minutes. Some people go there and spend 2 hours. You'll be wondering what is happening there. Some people even enter, by the time they are coming out, you see their face is looking as if they battered them, they have beaten and battered them. So many things like that, but just stay composed. For me, when I entered, I had a smooth entry. I'd already prepared, I noted all the things. Looking at my condition at that time, being pregnant, they thought probably I wasn't the one that did my projects. But I made them know that I did my projects, each and every one. They asked me, did you go to site? I was able to defend the project because I'm this kind of person that I don't look for favor. I don't believe in, maybe when they see me that I'm pregnant, they will now, they will not ask, I make sure that I prepared against anything that might want to show face. So that is it. Then if by any chance there is anybody on this chart who is writing the exam again, I mean, who has written before and is retaking it, I want to encourage you that you should don't feel bad. Of course, there's nothing to feel bad about. You must have felt bad in the earlier stage when you saw the result, but right now it's time to just focus on your exam. Read very well, thoroughly. Don't allow anything to discourage you. You can do it. And SURCON exam is not a measure of your brilliance. Let me just, that one is just fact. No doubt and no peace. It's not, you might be a distinction, a 4-pointer in your school, 4.9 over this in your school. When you get to SURCON, they might not even recognize your work, but the most important thing is just write it and ensure you pass that exam. So I'm congratulating you all in advance. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much, Professor Oriyomi Rachel. Thank you for that beautiful session. It was inspiring, it was encouraging, and it was tilting. And I know that everyone on this call has learned or gained 1 or 2 motivation from all our speakers. So we'll be opening the floor for questions. I can see some hands are up now. So we'll be opening the floor for questions while our speakers will be able to address them based on their experience and the knowledge they have. So, Ajayi Ronke, I don't know if it's a miss or miss. You have the floor, please. You can ask your question. Ajayi Ronke, your hand is up, and I think it should be a question. Okay. Can we all hear me, please?
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you from here.
Yes, we can hear you.
So, do we have any other person on this call that have a question or the other for our speakers? Any of them, you can direct the question to them and say, okay, Sophia Bodri, I want to ask, Sophia Rita, I want to ask you about this. They are here to answer our question adequately according to the information they have at hand. So, do we have anybody else on this call that has any question for them? Please let us ask now so that we can round up this webinar. I'm taking our silence to ask questions as, okay, probably we know it all and we are fully prepared for SURCON. That's very good. And that's very encouraging. That's very encouraging to see. Okay, I think
Hello,
Uzo.
good evening, sir.
Okay, good evening.
Yes, thank you very much, at least for the information and the guidance so far. At least, I always believe that it's always better to be prepared for something before going in, no matter how hot it is. So the question I want to ask is generally, but is pertaining to one of the projects I want to select. It has to do with hydrography. Now, SURCON stipulated 2 kilometers square. That is, or 2 nautical miles. 2 nautical miles is about 3.704 kilometers. So let me call it 3.71 kilometers. Now, that 3.71 kilometers, because the one I have is not meeting up the 2 kilometers square. 2 kilometers square is about 2 million square meters. So this one now is like a creek bending, just natural creek meandering, like sort of oxbow loop. So, but it's up to, and it is 3.75 kilometers. But the issue that I'm having is that at some points of the creek, just like a natural Niger Delta creek, some points are so slim, so you could only take 1 or 2 observations along that creek. Can it still be used? Because some of my colleagues, senior colleagues and already registered surveyors, they will tell you, leave this one, go carry something where they big, where go they size them. This one you will be explaining too much. Thank you very much. That's my question, sir.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. So I think Sovio Wale and Sovio Riomi have done something as regards hydrography survey in their project. I don't know if you can answer the question, sir.
Oh, okay. Let me answer. Uzo, see, anything that will make you to be sweating under AC, just avoid it. Do you understand me? Anything that will make you to be talking too much, or that will be making you to shalaye, like to explain, just avoid it. You understand? The guideline, I have the guideline with me right now, and I believe you are reading from it also. Anything that is not up to the guideline, anything that will make you start begging, don't, just leave it. Do you understand? Like your friends advised you, look for other things to do. Anything that is short of guideline, it will make you to start explaining yourself. You see, this thing that you said that you are not, because of the natural occurrence of creek and all that, you are able to pick just 2 points. That is the explanation. Anything that will make you to start explaining yourself, just avoid it. Find something else to do.
Okay, thank you so much for that answer. So anything that is not within the confinement of the guideline, please let's do away with it in order to avoid too much explanation. I think that answer is short and brief. Okay, so Sophia Bodrini is saying on the chat that we should stay strictly within the examination guideline. It is very, very important. It is very, very important. I don't know, do we still have anybody on Discord that has any other question to ask them? Do we have any other person on Discord that have any other question to ask them?
Please, it's still you. It's still me. I like to always tread on the side of caution so much. The question that I asked, because I want to be very, very, very clear. I'm open to changing it and any other thing. The question that I asked was, it's not that the points we are not consistent. Let me say, in a creek now, some places you have 30-meter width wide. Then at some places now it's narrowing to 5 meters. And now you only took that 5 meters. Not like you didn't take everything. You took the full width creek. But you only took that 5 meters now. So now instead of it looking like a big water body, it's now looking like you're just following the natural creek body. But it's actually up to 3.75 kilometers in distance. So my question mostly lies on, they say 2 nautical miles or 2 square kilometers. I really want to interpret that 2 square kilometers. I want that 2 square kilometers or 2 nautical miles to be explained, because in the case of maybe like let me say prelim survey or full prep, they say 3 hectares or 3 kilometers. So if it is a linear full preparation survey, you go 3 kilometers. Then if it is maybe an acquisition of an area, minimum of 3 hectares. But in hydro, sometimes it's hard to appreciate in the distance. It's 3.75. But from the suggestions already I'm getting, I think I will leave it. But I just want to know about it. Thank you very much.
Excuse me, can I lend a voice?
Okay. Who is?
Okay. Mr.
Okay,
Uso,
sir.
I think I can relate with what you are trying to explain to a very large extent. I would say that every project has a target, and we have examination specifications as well. It depends on what you are aiming to achieve. You know, hydro is a wide field. I'm sure that what you are doing basically is bathymetry, and sometimes just like a land too, just like a land too, an expanse of land, sometimes you have some portions narrowing down. On the course of the lagoon, you have places like what you have explained too. So if you are trying to maybe calculate the volume of fuel for a dredging project, that's what you are looking at in your project, and you have met the condition. A nautical mile is about a little below 2 kilometers. Is either you meet you meet the examination guideline in terms of length or distance, or in terms of area of coverage. If one of two or both is achieved, you are good to go. But like Sobio Adewale Abolaji said, if you are not fulfilling any of the condition and you are so bent on doing an hydro project just because you love it, I would discourage you. It's better to stay strictly within the provisions of the examination guidelines. But if you have fulfilled both or one of the conditions, either in terms of coverage area or in terms of length, you are good to go. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that answer to the question. So, in order just to avoid any form of problem in the future, it's better we stay strictly within the confinement of the guideline. So, I don't know if we have any other person on this call that has a question to ask any of our speakers.
Okay, the only thing I have to say is thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thank you. It's clear to me now. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Uzo. Okay, so if we don't have any other questions again, I think we'll go to the next thing highlighted for us to do, which is the vote of thanks. So I don't know, do we have the committee chair on this call already? Okay, I think the deputy chair, the vice chair is on the call. I'm not sure he's where he can talk now. He just left Ikeja not quite long. So on behalf of the committee, okay, I think I can see a member of the committee on this call so that we can take Mr. Biliamin. Can you please take the photo of thanks? Okay. So on behalf of the YSN training committee, we want to say thank you to everyone that have created time out of no time to join us on this great webinar, and an inspiring one at that. want to say a very big thank you to all our speakers, our facilitators for sharing from their well of knowledge with us. And I think and I believe that in one way or the other, they've motivated us, they've encouraged us, and they've answered some of the questions that are troubling us. And they have given us the first shot of the fuel to get going, because speaking with some of us within the course of the week, I noticed that some are already getting weary, they are already get tired, even when they not started. But I think with this motivation now, they can put more effort and then forge ahead. And I pray God will crown all your efforts with good success. I want to say a very big thank you to everyone, the committee members on this call that I'm unable to identify, and every other person that have joined. I wish us good success in our forthcoming examination and project defense. So in the coming months, we'll still be having subsequent sessions. I think according to the plans of the training committee, we are still going to have like 2 more sections. We are still going to have one section where we'll bring 2 examiners with experience over the years to come and talk to us when we are at the peak of compiling our projects. I think that will be around July or August. And then there will be a final physical section where we'll be requested to bring our projects by examiners, examination that have been in the committee or SURCON examiners. Let me just put it like that. That have enough experience and knowledge to help us check by the time we'll go for the final exam. I know we had one like that last year. So I would encourage us to keep quiet, be ready to share. As Sovewale has said, that nobody's going to copy you. We are just here to, they are just here to help us, so that some simple errors that we've committed, we'll be able to correct them before we do the final submission. Though we might not have a perfect job, but at least we can avoid every error that is avoidable. So I would encourage us all to please adhere by this, and then keep in touch. I think we already have a WhatsApp group now, and we can always use that WhatsApp group as a platform for discussion to anything that is unclear to us. We can discuss, as Yomi has encouraged that we should. So the WhatsApp group is there for us to share knowledge with each other and also interact very well. So I pray God grant us a good success. So I want to say a very big thank you to Sovio Abodunrin. Thanks to Oloko Bilkis. I want to say a very big thank you to Sovio Abolaji Adewale, and I want to say a very big thank you to Sovio Oriyomi Rachel for your time, for sharing your experience. It really means a lot to us, and why SN Lagos is grateful. Thank you so much. So I don't know if we have a volunteer among the people that are writing the exam this year to say a word of thanks to our speakers. You can unmute your mic now. Okay, so none of us is willing to say thank you to our speakers.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
I'll go with it. So I want to say a very big thank you to everyone who took out their time. It's not everybody that can do it. Sacrifice their time and be tutoring people for no benefits, no seeming benefits. It's not something that can be done by everybody. So I want to say a big thank you to each and everyone who took out time from their busy schedule, their family time, their rest time, to clarify some of us on some questions and help us out too. May God keep blessing you. May God Almighty Allah and God keep blessing you and be reaching you. Thank you very much, Saz. Thank you very much, Maz. As you keep doing it for us, it will also be done for your children in 100-fold. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Uzo. I can see Mr. Ben and up the other time too. Can you quickly have the floor to and say one of the things you wanted to say?
Okay, please, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, but I think there's an echo.
Okay. Okay, so what I wanted to say was I wanted to like do the vote of thanks. This is actually a great avenue for us to actually share our minds, share our thoughts, talk about things that are probably confusing us. And I believe the committee is doing a very, very great work. It's not really easy to take out time to try to guide people on what to do and ask, like one of the moderator said, ask any kind of question. So I think this is actually a great avenue for that. Like I've been able to grab a lot of things, and I'm going back to the drawing board today because when you talk about meeting the panelists, knowing where your controls are, how to get your controls, I think those are very, very important aspects that might be overlooked if someone does not have the opportunity to be in this kind of platform. So thank you very much. I pray that God bless you. We can't even pay you guys for the hard work you guys are doing. I think God will continue to bless every work of your hands in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you so much, Mr. Ben. Really appreciate that. So on this note, we'll be closing this webinar to further notice when a subsequent program will be coming up. But on our platform, for those of us that are writing exam within Lagos State, we have a WhatsApp platform for us created by the YSN Lagos. So if we don't have the link, you can check on our group chat. It's always there. There is a form there for you to fill, where we have requested that you list out the project you are writing, then your supervisor and all the like, so that we can prepare adequately for you. Because we are looking at a kind of mentoring program for you to that we can allocate, apportion you to different examiners. So before the vetting, so that you can always communicate them if you have any difficulty along the way while you are compiling your project. So please let us always endeavor to read informations on the announcement group. They are very important informations posted there for us. Thank you so much, and I wish us a wonderful evening. Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Thank you very much.